Hello everyone, my name is Cherie and I'm here today to do a recommendations video for you. This recommendations video is a part of the monthly recommendations group on Goodreads, and that group was created by Kayla Rain and Trina from Between the Chapters, and I will leave a link in the description box below for the Goodreads group as well as to their channel. The topic for this month is back to school, so books set in school, and I have a few books here I would love to recommend to you guys. The first book I have is a young adult contemporary novel, and it is The Impossible Knife of Memory by Laurie Halse Anderson. This is the story of a girl named Haley. She and her father have been on the road for 5 years, and then one day her father decides that they need to go back home, so they go to his hometown and he wants to stay there. So Haley has to deal with not being on the road anymore and going to school every day, as well as making friends and dealing with boys. And she also has to deal with her father, who has PTSD, and he has pretty much been haunted by the war when he was overseas, and she has to deal with how he deals with it. I enjoyed this book. I read this book last January. I believe it was the first book I read in 2014, and I ended up getting it because of the Reblog Club on Tumblr. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed Haley's story. I enjoyed her relationship with her friends. I enjoyed that there was no insta love in this book, and I also enjoyed her relationship with her father. I don't think this is a perfect book, but I did like that it discussed PTSD and how that person deals with it, as well as how their family deals with it. And the next book I have is an adult thriller, and it happens to be one of the many adult thrillers that got put in the category, if you like Gone Girl, you'll like this. And this one is Reconstructing Amelia by Kimberly McCreight. This is the story of a single mother who ends up getting a phone call from her daughter's school telling her that her daughter was found cheated and her daughter is pretty much in serious trouble and she needs to get down there. Well, her mother was at work at the time and she had to deal with trying to leave work early. By the time she actually got to her daughter's school, she finds that her daughter is dead. Now that is not a spoiler, it's actually on the back. This book is set in New York. The daughter went to a private school there, and the mother, pretty much after her daughter is found dead, she decides she needs to figure out what happened to her daughter. So the mother and the detective on this case decides that they need to figure out what happened. This book is told in dual perspective. It's told through the mother's eyes as she's trying to figure out what happened to her daughter, and the other perspective is her daughter's, pretty much telling you what happened and why everything happened. This book was an interesting read. Now, even though it was compared to Gone Girl, I actually read this book before I read Gone Girl, so I really couldn't compare it then. And I'm actually glad I read this before I read Gone Girl, because maybe I wouldn't have liked it as much. There are a lot of things that the mother didn't know her daughter did. It's not like her daughter was a bad person, it's just that her daughter didn't tell her mother everything. I'm still not sure how I felt about the ending of this book, but I still enjoyed it, and I recommend it if you're looking for a thriller. The next book I have is also an adult novel, but this one is set in elementary school, and that is Leaving Atlanta by Tayari Jones. Now this book is set in the 1980s in Atlanta, and during that time there are African American children vanishing, and when they are found dead. Now this book is told through 3 perspectives, and they are all 3 children in elementary school. I would not put this in the mystery or thriller section. This story is told through the eyes of 3 different children and how they view everything that's surrounding them and everything that's happening with all these kids vanishing. I really like this book. I love these kids. These kids have a very special place in my heart. I rooted for all of them. I'm heartbroken for some of them, and I definitely recommend this book. It will take you back to elementary school, and I believe they're in 5th grade, so this is pretty much right before they head off to middle school or junior high. So it's kind of one of those things where when you're a little kid, it's very, very important who you're friends with, who you sit with at lunch, and whether or not you're going to get invited to that slumber party. So although the main topic of this book was very jarring, there were some fun moments. So those are 3 books that you might not have ever heard of, so I wanted to definitely put those first, but the next 3 are books I'm pretty sure most of the people on the booktube have read already. The first is Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins, the story of a girl named Anna. If you're unaware, she gets sent to go to Paris to go to boarding school by her father. She is very upset over this. She does not want to go. But her father, who is a writer, he wants to look good amongst his peers, so he decides that sending his daughter to a boarding school in Paris makes them look good. But it follows Anna while she's in her senior year in Paris, while she makes friends, she falls in love. I adored this book. I thought this book was so adorable. This is my favorite in the companion trilogy. Pretty much, if you want to read an adorable book, pick up Anna and the French Kiss if you have not read it yet. And the next two I have are by the same author. One is set in high school and the other one is set in college. And the first one is Eleanor and Park. And then we have Fangirl, and they are both by Rowell. I'm pretty sure you've heard of these books. Eleanor and Park is the story of a couple, of a girl named Eleanor and a guy named Park. They meet on a school bus and they slowly, thankfully, fall in love. And Fangirl is the story of an introvert who is a twin, and her twin, who is very outgoing, decides that she wants to be an individual. So when they go to college, the introvert is pretty much on her own. I enjoyed both these books. I think I liked Fangirl better than I liked Eleanor and Park, but I really liked both of them. And I don't know what to say about them that everyone on BookTube hasn't already said, but yeah, I recommend both of these books. I do have a couple more books here, but I'm putting them as honorable mention because I don't think these books are in print anymore. But these books are set in a performance art school in New York, and they follow the lives of these kids who are dancers, singers, painters, actors, pretty much anything you want to be at a performance art school. But this series is called It Chicks. The first book is It Chicks, and the second book is It Chicks 16 Candles. Now, I read these books, I want to say either in 2007 or 2008, and I believe this was supposed to be a series. I don't know how long. I don't believe it was ever supposed to be a duology. I'm pretty sure there are other stuff that were supposed to happen, but no other books were made, so these are the only two books in this series. I kind of want to know what happens to the kids, or I kind of want to ask the author if they ever wanted to write more books, but yeah, maybe I'll find her on Twitter and I'll ask her that question. I don't know. So those are books I have to recommend to you guys this month. Let me know if you have any questions about any of these books, or let me know if you've read any of these books. Also, let me know what book you recommend that is set in a school. And thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!